Greetings and salutations, good friends, and welcome to today's video. Um, Today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different than the usual. We're not going to be talking about a manga or an anime or about something completely random. We're going to be talking about a web novel. This web novel also has a light novel adaptation and a manga adaptation, and this, as all web novel light novels do, has a very long title. Now, this title isn't as long as some of the others might be. The title of this one's only Clearing an Isekai with the Zero Believer's Goddess. Now, these titles can sometimes get out of hand and can sometimes just turn out to be like full sentences. But this one, luckily, doesn't get that bad. Now, because I feel the need to publicly humiliate myself, I'm going to attempt to read the Japanese name for this. Shinja Zero no Megami-sama te Hajimaru Isekai Koraku. I'm sorry, don't hate me, don't hurt me. I don't speak Japanese, I just felt the need to humiliate myself, and that's apparently what I'm going to get off to tonight. Moving on, I'm going to start off with a synopsis, as I usually do in these things. But you probably already know it, otherwise how'd you find this video? So our story starts off with our protagonist, Takatsuki Makoto. Now, he is your pretty average high school student, with the exception that he is obsessed with RPG games. I can respect this. I'm in the same boat. And he goes on a field trip with his classmates, and they are driving back from it or driving to it, whichever one, and it's on a mountain during winter, and they crash, get stranded, can't help them for whatever reason, and they all die. Takatsuki Makoto is the last to die. They all freeze to death specifically. He's the last to freeze to death. He's also the last to wake up in this alternate world they all reincarnate into as fully grown teenagers, or not fully grown, just teenagers, as these things usually do. When they are all unconscious, they're brought to the water temple, and these otherworlder incidents are apparently a thing that happens occasionally. So this is their first rodeo, or this isn't the first time they've heard of this. And Takatsuki Makoto is told to approach the head priest and talk to him because he needs more information, and the head priest hands him his soul book. Now, soul book is apparently, in this world, something that records their name, their stats, their skills, and what's this? Their lifespan. Their lifespan starts with 10 years, and it can be increased through good deeds and money donated to the goddesses that they all worship of this world. And he finds out that typically otherworlders have minimum at least 3 times the stats as the average person. Now, apparently, Takatsuki Makoto is the exception to this, where he's weaker than your average citizen, and his skills are also pretty weak on himself. His skills include RPG player, clear mind, and water magic elementary level. Now, water magic is the weakest element, and elementary is the weakest level of this element, of all elements. So not only is he with the weakest magic, he's with the weakest level of magic. So he's pretty boned right from the get-go. All of his classmates get blessings from the goddesses and are recruited by different countries. He, of course, is left all by himself, and when he leaves the water temple to set off on this world, he finds a goddess calls him out to try to recruit him. He accepts, and so his journey starts. Now, there's a lot of things I want to say about this. Like, for instance, I didn't mention the fact that they are going to fight the Demon Lord, which is the usual goal of these things. So all of humanity doesn't get enslaved. And that's as far as I'm going to go because everything else is kind of spoilery. Not much. Like, it wouldn't spoil anything big, but I could go a little bit further, but I'm not going to, just in case there's a couple people that get hanky-panky around that kind of stuff. Now, let's move on to the story. Now, the story leans more towards the comedic side of things. This isn't a parody comedy like Konosuba. This is a story that leans more towards the comedic side of the metronome. Now, it does have its serious moments. It does have its action bits, and it does have its like critical moments, but for the most part, it's typically comedic and casual and easygoing. Well, not casual and easygoing, but you get what I mean. It's it 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 it's a jokey atmosphere most of the time, with the exception of the ones I just said. I digress. And the characters themselves are really flavorful, very quirky and bold. Their interactions are funny and amusing. Even the annoying villain that appears time to time again, not the main villain, but one of the villains, even his interactions with everyone is slightly comedic. And I can't really think of a character that I really, really hate. And now moving on to the main question, the big question: does he get overpowered? Because it's the burning question in everyone's mind when they start a new isekai, and the answer is yes and no. He doesn't start off overpowered. It's not like after 5 chapters he suddenly like becomes God. There's a gradual buildup from when he becomes overpowered, and even when he does get overpowered, he still somehow maintains the ability to be incredibly weak at the same time. For instance, his strength only works during certain occasions, and even during those occasions, he's still like a glass cannon kind of situation, where he can still be harmed very, very easily. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics on how he gets into this weird oxymoronic overpowered or not situation. You're going to have to read it yourself, because I do highly recommend this series. It's very enjoyable, very fun to read. The action bits are hype. It's all good. It's good. Highly recommend you check it out. Wherever you can, if you can. And actually, that's going to... Oh, and I forgot to mention, the another interesting thing about this, not just the fact that his overpoweredness is questionable. There's also the mention of, I said there were stats and skills and stuff, so you're probably expecting like some really heavy like RPG like grind level ups and stuff. That doesn't happen. They mention it twice, but for the most part, whenever you're like, oh wow, this person's stats are really high. Oh wow, these stats are pretty high. I said the same thing twice. Oh well. But for the most part, like, they don't actually talk about the stats. The stats are just there for like flavor text or to like really cement the fact, oh, this person's strong, which I found kind of unique and kind of interesting. But that's gonna do it for today. I actually recorded this video last night, but I watched the recording of it. I was like, wow, this is bad. I leave so much stuff out. I could talk about so much more. And so I re-recorded it in the morning, which is the reason why I sound a little tired. It's because I just woke up. Well, I didn't just wake up, but I'm not a morning person. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you have anything particular you want me to talk about, write in the comments. If you just want to say hi, write in the comments, etc., etc. The comments are there. If you ever have any need to say anything, smooth. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. It helped me out, and they're both free, so you know how the YouTube stuff works. And I hope you check out tomorrow's video, because I do upload these things daily. And yeah, I'm gonna call it now. Farewell. I'm gonna call it now is what I said. I wasn't calling anyone out.